All right, so everybody is muted. Okay, so today we're on Rule 6. That's kicking the ball and fair catch. Before we get started, guys, make sure if you do have a rule book, please take the time and read up before we get here. Remember, this is just a supplement to your education and your training. We want you to actually get into the rule book for yourself. I spent a lot of time prepping for these classes. All day Thursday, I spent literally the whole day in here until like midnight. Midnight is my cutoff date, and then I head home. So I spent a lot of time, and then I spent a lot more time like today before the class finishing up. So yeah, I may know the information fairly well. I'm not saying I'm an expert. However, we want you guys, your guardians, to get into the rules for yourself, because again, when I teach it to you, it's borrowed knowledge, right? You just borrowing the knowledge that I have took the time to own. When you study for yourself, you own it, all right? These classes are just meant to supplement. Maybe you didn't understand something, you need a better clarification of something. And then in this class, we're going to give that to you if you ask the questions, or maybe I might just already clarify that with you. But it's very important that you get into the rule book personally and study these rules for yourself. For me, it's like reading a novel. I love reading the rule books. When I was in the military, the UCM J manual was a beauty of mine. So I like this. I get thrilled reading it. I buy all types of books and read them on officiating, but that's just me. Might not be you. But again, get into the rule book for yourself is very important. Number 2, I have a couple of go-to people I call. They may say I call them too much on a weekly basis, regular basis, discussing rules. Even the rules that I go over with in this class, I have 2 individuals that I call and talk about what I'm reading and what I'm studying. And I might ask them some trick questions. I might leave out some phrases trying to catch them in a trick question, but they keep asking me more and more questions that I give them the answer that they're looking, or the question they're looking for. But each and every one of y'all should have a person that you go to, that you call up after a game, or after a game is over, and you have a question about a rule, or you're reading the rule book, you got a question, or you may read something you didn't even really know before, and you might want to clarify with someone else. You should have someone that you go to as a go-to person in regards to your rules study, right? So you should have somebody, you should read the rule for yourself. You should have a go-to person that you go to, or go to a couple of people that you call and discuss rules. All that's important, okay? The season is rapidly coming upon us. And as I was thinking about this, there's a couple of things that I remember I used to have little coin phrases all over the place. One of the coin phrases was, teams train hard, officials train harder, okay? That was a little something I said to remind me how important it is for me to study and to get in the rules and spend just as many hours in the rule book as the teams do out there practicing before the game starts, all right? I'm not gonna try to beat a dead horse, but there's some things I was thinking and some things I always cover, and I'm gonna cover with you guys, because it's very important to me, and I want this to be very important to you guys and understand where I'm coming from. We're the only paid contractors on the weekends, or whenever we go out there. High school, the coaches get paid, but in youth, pretty much the only ones that are collecting money for being out there is us. However, these teams and these players spend 2 to 3 days a week prepping for that game on Saturday, right? Coaches get together with other coaches and go over plays, talk about plays, call each other during the week, preparing for that game on Saturday. Parents have to leave work early, how to take days off, whatever the case may be, reschedule so they can have their kids there participating on Saturday. Everybody's working hard, renting fields, all this stuff, so that they can have a game on Saturday. And here come us. Here come the guardians. Here come the game officials, right? And if we're not spending as much time reading the rules, studying the rules, calling that go-to person, then we're doing a disservice to everyone out there. And I'm telling you, it's I take this very seriously, and I do not have a fond view of officials who do not take what they do seriously. I don't care if you get paid $1, all right? You're a professional once you hold your hand open and you collect some money. So I want each and every y'all to take this seriously. I take it very seriously. I hope you guys take it seriously as well. And that's why we're doing this. That's why we're spending. Now I might be talking to preachers of the choir because you guys are here. But I want to make sure you guys know to spend extra time on your own studying the rules. All right, let's get started. Rule 6, kicking the ball and fair catch. All right. Okay. All right. Section 1, the kickoff and other free kicks. All right. A free kick is any kick which puts the ball in play to start a free kick down. After they're ready for play and before the kick, each player, other than the kicker and the holder for a place kick, must be behind their free kick line. All right. So we're looking at the free kick and we're looking at basically the kicking team as well as the receiving team. You got to be behind your 40 and also the other team 10 yards behind their 50 if we're kicking from the location spot without any fouls or penalties that have been executed. All right, this is rule 1 that we actually went over weeks ago, but I added this because we're talking about free kicks. Okay, free kick lines is the 40-yard line for kickoffs. It's the 20-yard line after a safety, the yard line spot after a catch, after a fair catch, after a fair catch, and the yard line spot after an awarded fair catch. All right, these lines are always 10 yards apart, right? These lines are established for each. These lines are established unless there's a penalty or an emergency. Okay, so if let's say there's a penalty after the try and we mark it off as a seating spot, be it against B or A, we're going to mark it respectively, and then but yet it's still going to be a 10-yard line neutral zone in that case. If there's an emergency, the book used, let's say, a puddle of water on the 40-yard line, and they can't kick from there. The referee has authority to move that line either forward or backwards as he sees fit to a playable line, all right? And that's up to the referee to make that decision. If we're going to move it forward or we're going to move it back. Okay. A captain of a team is a player designated to represent his team during ball placement on a try, kickoff, or after a safety, after a fair catch or an awarded fair catch, after a touchback, and to start in overtime. So just mentioning, again, it's in rule 2, it's the captain that chooses whether the ball will be placed. It can be placed anywhere between the hash marks. Typically, it's always in the center of the field, but if in high school, they may say I want on the left hash mark or the right hash mark, and they have that. They can do that during those particular instances. Rule 6.2.1, once designated, K must kick from that spot. A free kick shall be made from any point between the hash marks on K's free kick line. So again, once that spot been designated, they must kick from that spot. If they try to pick the ball up and move it, it's actually a dead ball foul. However, I think I have it on here. No, I don't. If there is a foul prior to the kick, or we're going to replay the kick, the captain can redesignate where he want to kick it from. All right. So he can say, "Oh no, I don't want to kick from that right hash. Now I want to put it in the middle." That's completely fine. Okay, a punt may not be used for a free kick other than after a safety. When a punt is used, the ball must be kicked within one step behind K's behind K's free kick line. So in other words, you can free kick a safety. I think a few years ago I heard somebody say, "Oh, they got to punt it." No, they don't have to punt it. They can free kick or they can punt. But whatever they do choose to do, if he do choose to punt it, he can't cross over his kick line as though in a free kick. The kicker can cross over his free kick line in a free kick, but on a punt, he must be behind his line by at least one step. All right, so look at some K restrictions on a free kick. All right, at least 4 K players must be on each side of the kicker actually when the ball is kicked. Okay, so what that means is, let's say they have 3 on one side and 3, 7 on the other side, whatever the number is. If the kicker's running to kick the ball and one of the players roll around the kicker, and actually on the other side when the ball is kicked, that's fine. You got 4 on the side of him when he kicked the ball. All right. So if a kicker running and another player runs around him, there might be 3 now. He can run over there, and if there's 4, that's fine when the ball is kicked. I know a lot of times we prevent officiating. We always say, "Hey, gotta be 4 on the other side of the kicker," and we make them. We kind of coach them to get that 4th player over there before the ball is before the kicker goes to kick the ball. But actuality, if they said no, we want to do it like this, that's fine, as long as when that ball is kicked, there's a 4th player on the other side of the kicker. All right. Number 2, no players may be more than 5 yards behind the kicking team's free kick line. All right. Got a lot of these rules was created because the kicking team was getting a big running start and just blasting through the neutral zone and just destroying the front line of the receiving team, trying to knock them over so they can get the ball after it costs 10 yards. In National Federal High School, they nailed that. So the players have to be. If you look at this picture right here, you'll see that maybe I think that one of the players is actually on the line, but we can tell them to come off that line. But only the kicker could be past that line and come up and kick the ball. Everyone must be on the other side of that free kick line. No player may be beyond his free kick line. Again, only the kicker and holder. All right, exception. The kicker and 2 and 3. In other words, could be behind the line and kick it. And the holder is referring to number 3. The holder obviously can't be behind the 5-yard line, whatever case may be like that. Okay, kicker restrictions. So we talked about the whole team. Now we're talking about the kicker himself. The kicker may not use pop-up kicks. Okay, it's when you kick the ball directly into the ground and it pops high into the air. That has been deemed a foul because, again, but we're talking about the 2 requirements for K to recover a kick. One of them, it has to go 10 yards, and 2, it has to touch the ground. So the pop-up kick actually satisfy the first rule, it touched the ground, and then it goes up high again. What they was doing, they was coming, destroying the front line, and getting the ball after the cross at the 10-yard mark. Again, a lot of injuries going on, a lot of people getting injured, so they nixed that. No more pop-up kicks. Onside kicks are fine, but when we talk about pop-up kicks, we're talking about the one that hits the ground and pops high back into the air. Those are a foul. All right. Can't kick the ball out of bounds. You know, I did a couple of games that I can remember when a team is actually scared that if they kick the ball to the receiving team, he's going to run it back for a touchdown. You know, they want to try to kick it out of bounds and prevent the receiving team from getting the ball and getting some good advantage yardage. But again, in the kickoff, it's a foul if you kick the ball out. And here we go. It talks about this here in Rule 6. That's why we're going to cover it. You know, we're not really covering too much about fouls. We're not talking about delay of game fouls and how many yards there are, or any other fouls. We will cover fouls around the end, but for some reason I just didn't feel like I haven't added them, and I talk about it all the time. I mean, I'm not talking about fouls in the yardage about fouls, but in Rule 6 it actually brings it up within the portion that we're studying. So I'm bringing it up here. So the ball gets kicked out of bounds. The first option that R has is a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot and re-kick. The second option is a 5-yard penalty from the succeeding spot. The third option is a ball in play 25 yards beyond the previous spot, which is typically R's 35-yard line. If there's have been any penalties assessed before the kickoff. And put the ball in play at the inbound spot. All right, so a couple of things. We're literally trying to get away from doing re-kicks, all right? And that's the reason why the National Federation Committee has added so many options other than take it back and re-kick, right? When I was actually looking at this PowerPoint I did in 2007, 2008, there was only 3 options, right? The 5-yard penalty from the succeeding spot was not an option in 2007, 2008, okay? But it is an option now. So, you know, I've seen teams try to re-kick and get worse yardage, race position than they were just accepted it from the original kick. So we're gonna let them know, hey coach, you don't have to re-kick it. You can take the 5 yards from the succeeding spot. Again, we always gonna go with the most advantageous spot. So if the ball gets kicked out of bounds at the 5-yard line, obviously they don't want to take it 5 yards from there because they're gonna put them on the 10-yard line. They'll take it on their own 35-yard line. But if the ball, they do an onside kick and the ball goes out of bounds at R's 50-yard line, then they'll take the 5-yard penalty and go on K's 45 because that's better than going on their own 35-yard line. Okay, so again, those are different options that they have. Or again, they can put the ball at the inbound spot, but why do that? We can get 5 yards tagged on to that, right? Just saying. All right. When can K legally recover the ball? All right. When can K legally recover the ball? A recovery is gaining possession of a live ball after it strikes the ground. Key phrase in there, strikes the ground. All right. It's about recovery. Recovery is talking about gaining possession after the live ball has strikes the ground. Again, one of the requirements that the ball must touch the ground. All right. The second requirement the ball must go beyond R's free kick line. All right. So again, in other words, two requirements: it must touch the ground and it must go past our free kick line, which is 10 yards. Once it crosses that, once it meets those two requirements, K can now legally recover the ball on a free kick. All right. First touching will prevent K from retaining possession of a live ball. Okay. So first touching is not a foul, it's a violation. And typically we will mark first touching by a beanbag. Let me see if I have a definition on here for that. All right. During a free kick, it is first touching if the ball is touched in the field of play by any K player before it crosses R free kick line and before it touches there by any R player. Okay, so they're doing an onside kick. This is where you typically see this happen at. K will be overzealous, they'll run up the ball. Don't make a difference if they intentionally touch the ball or the ball accidentally touched them. Once they touch the ball, that's considered first touching. And as a covering official, you should be dropping a beanbag, not a flag. You should be dropping a beanbag at that first touching. There can be multiple first touchings, but again, we tag the first touching with beanbags. But let's say it hits the ground, they got first touching, it crosses RK's line, they jump on the ball. So they have met every requirement to keep that ball and get awarded a new series of downs. However, but because there was first touching, that nullifies that recovery, and in R can choose first touching and get the ball where K touched it. All right. All right. K cannot advance a kick. I want to say it again. K cannot advance a kick, right? So let's say they legally recovered the ball, right? There was no first touching. The ball touched the ground. It went 10 yards. It passed R's free kick line, and they pick up the ball. Immediately, the ball is dead. Now, it's different between possession and muffing, okay? If they try to possess the ball, they pick it up and it's bumbling and they drop it, the ball is still live, all right? We don't blow the whistle because they touched the ball. We blow the whistle after they secure possession of the ball, all right? That's key. If not, you're gonna have an inverted whistle, and you know what we think about those. All right? If any K player recovers or catches a free kick, the ball becomes dead. Rule 616. All right. Team R, talking about free kicks. Any receiver may catch or recover a free kick in the field of play and advance. Okay. So there's any R player may recover or catch a free catch and may advance the ball. Unless any R player is giving a valid or invalid fair catch signal, and we get to that section 5, we will talk about what those are and what those and the restrictions to that. All right. R may take the ball at first touching by K, unless first touching is canceled if R touches the ball and thereafter during the down commits a foul, or if the penalty is accepted for any foul committed during the down. Okay, so although we may have first touching by K, if R touches the ball and thereafter block in the bag or block below the waist or wherever the case may be, that first touching is now canceled, and we go, it's going to be marked, the foul mark will be marked from the basic spot, either be where the ball recovered. If the foul's behind the ball recovered, we go to the point of the spot of the foul. All right. A free kick is not repeated unless a foul occurs prior to a change of possession and the penalties acceptance require a replay down. Okay, so the ball is kicked, and there is a foul by K, right? During the live ball, and R1 accept that, then it has to be a replay down, right? There's a double foul. So there's a foul on K and a foul on R, offset, we re-kick, and there's an inverted whistle during the kick. In other words, K try to picks up the ball, fumbles it, and you blow an inverted whistle while the kick has not ended. We have to do another re-kick, all right? All right, section 2, scrimmage kicks. So all we discovered was free kicks, and everything pertains to free kicks. Now we're talking about scrimmage kicks. All right, K may punt, drop kick, place kick, or place kick from in or behind the neutral zone, all right? In or behind. So just because they got close to the line of scrimmage when they punted it, if it's in or behind, that's fine. All right, so what's a punt? A punt is a legal kick by a player who drops the ball and kick it before it touches the ground. A drop kick, which is very rarely seen anymore. A drop kick is a legal kick by a player who drops the ball and kicks it when it touches the ground or as it rising from the ground. So it hits the ground as it coming back up, you kick it, or you kick it at the same time it hits the ground. Those are drop kicks. Again, you don't see them that much, especially in youth, and very rarely, I don't even think I ain't seen it professional that much. If I'm wrong, let me know. But drop kicks, they're still in the rules, but rarely seen. And a place kick is a legal kick made while the ball is in a fixed position on the ground or on a kicking tee. Any K player may catch or recover a scrimmage kick while it is in or behind the neutral zone and advance. All right. Different scenarios. We always seen it, they try to do a scrimmage kick, kicking the ball on fourth down is blocked by B. It was recovered by one of the K, and then they try to run it, and they may get a first down, whatever. That's completely okay. But let's say they kicked it and it goes past the neutral zone, and let's say it ricochets back or it's muffed back, whatever the case may be. Once it's back behind their neutral zone, they can run it, advance it, so long as it's behind the neutral zone. And they can re-kick as many, there's no rule on the number of kicks K can do on a scrimmage kick. So they kick it, it bounce back, they can re-kick it again. All right. They kick it and then bounce back, they can throw a forward pass. They only can throw one legal forward pass going it down and no change of possession. There's still no change of possession. They can literally throw a forward pass. All right. And this is something we went over last week, recovering a loose ball in behind the neutral zone. The ball remains live and belongs to K in the down count. So that's something we covered last week, and it's repeated in Rule 6. All right. Any K player may catch or recover a scrimmage kick beyond the neutral zone. If it's touched by R beyond the expanded neutral zone, awarded a new series of downs. So again, we're talking about legally recover. And we're not talking about first touching. If it's go beyond the neutral zone and R touched the ball while it's past the neutral zone, K may recover it. If there's no first touching of the kick by K, all right? So again, if it's touched by R first and there's no first touching by K, they may keep the ball, all right? And this is the definition of first touching on a scrimmage kick. During a scrimmage kick, it is first touching if the ball is touched by any K player in the field of play and beyond the expanded neutral zone before it is touched by R or before the ball has come to rest, right? So that's first touching. And so those are the only two things that must happen or not happen for K to legally recover a ball on a scrimmage kick. All right, touching of a low scrimmage kick by any player is ignored if it is in or behind the expanded neutral zone. So a partially blocked punt does not consider as R touching the ball, so that K can't recover. Oh, R touched it when he blocked it, so we get to keep it. No, that doesn't count. We're talking about anything beyond the expanded neutral zone. Any receiver may catch or recover a scrimmage kick in advance. So now we're looking at R. Again, like any way, R can recover or catch any scrimmage kick and they may advance. Remember, K cannot advance a kick, no matter if it's a scrimmage kick or a free kick, they can advance kicks. Unless it's doing a try. Obviously, if we're going for extra point, the point is, if it's a scrimmage kick is used for a field goal attempt, then obviously once it's unsuccessful, the rule says the ball is dead. Unless any R player is given a valid or invalid fair catch signal. So again, if it's a try or they gave a valid, invalid fair catch signal, R may not advance the ball. All right, team A is awarded the ball. The ball is kicked out of bounds. All right, so on a scrimmage kick, it's not a foul to kick the ball out of bounds on a scrimmage kick, as though like in a free kick or a kickoff. That is a foul. But on a scrimmage kick, untouched by R will get the ball at the spot that it went out of bounds, and then be awarded the ball first a new series of downs. Becomes dead inbounds with no player possession. So we see this all the time. The ball is kicked. The R coach is saying, get away from the ball. K is surrounding the ball, hovering over the ball like vultures, trying. Hopefully that our player will touch it and just seeing where it, let it roll. Once the ball has stopped and no longer moving, no one is trying to secure possession of the ball. We can blow the whistle, we can kill it, and it belongs to the ball belongs to R. Joint possession. Joint possession during a kick belongs to R. All right. Now, during a live ball fight like A and B, joint possession always go to A. Although K is considered A, even on a scrimmage kick, if there's any joint possession, the ball goes to R. It does not go back to K. All right. All right. R may take the ball at first touching by K. First touching is canceled if R touches the ball and thereafter during the down commits a foul, or a penalty is accepted for any foul committed during the down. Again, we talked about that, same as in a free kick, is the same in a scrimmage kick. They can be awarded the ball at first touching by K, but if they commit a foul after touching the ball, or they want to accept the foul by K, and we're going to talk about post scrimmage kick fouls later on. Then the first touching is canceled. All right, forced touching. Touching of a free kick or scrimmage kick is ignored if it's caused by a player batting or muffing the ball into contact with an opponent, or caused by a player pushing or blocking an opponent into contact with the ball. All right, that applies to a free kick as well as a scrimmage kick. All right, so on a free kick, the ball is kicked. R is advancing on the ball. K blocks R. R touches the ball. That's ignored because he was blocked into the ball. If R muffs the ball in the neutral zone on the free kick, am I trying to say that right? Yeah, and then K touches. is not considered first touching because R touched it first. So again, we got to look for that. They get blocked into our teammate. Let's say a teammate, am I saying it right? An R blocks. Yeah, if I block somebody into the ball, again, is ignored unless a teammate hits you and hit your own ball. That counts. But anybody that pushed or blocked into it is not considered touching either way. We ignore that and we move forward. All right, touchback. All right, is a touchback if a free kick or scrimmage kick if the ball breaks the plane of R's goal line. All right. If the ball crosses R's goal line, it becomes dead and is a touchback. Now, you got to be very careful. It's not if the player of R breaks the goal line, it is the ball breaks the plane of the goal line. So if R is about inside of his end zone, and as the ball coming, he picks the ball up while the ball is outside the plane, that ball is still live because the ball hasn't crossed the plane. Now, right? It hasn't crossed. So he may get and advance it. But if he's on the other side, he let the ball, I don't care if it just breaks the plane, it becomes dead and is a touchback. All right. A non-scoring attempt. Ball, if it's not a non-scoring attempt, it's a touchback. A grounded three-point field goal attempt, if it breaks R goal line, it is a touchback. Unless R chooses a spot of first touching by K. Again, we got first touching by K, and then the ball breaks the goal line, is a touchback, or they can take the ball at first touching by K. All right, three-point field goal attempt in flight is unsuccessful, breaks R's goal line, or the ball touches a K player in R's end zone. It's a dead ball. They can't hit the head of K player and go through the goal post. If any of those things happen, the ball is dead. It's a touchback. The ball goes to 20-yard lines. You've seen the lines for R. All right, touchback or safety. If any free kick or scrimmage kick becomes dead in the kicker's end zone while no player has possession, it is a safety or a touchback. Now, I'm not going to really cover it today, but there's a rule called new force, and it also applies on kicks. So it is very possible, be it on a free kick or be it on a scrimmage kick. There's a lot of variables, and we're not going to cover all the variables. I'm just speaking in generality. If the ball goes back into K's end zone, all right, it's not dead. The ball is only dead if it goes through our end zone, goal line, cross goal line. But if it crosses the kicker's goal line, the ball remains live. All right, you can pretty much see this more on a scrimmage kick than a free kick. But if they have a whole bunch of dead ball fouls or unsportsmanlike conduct on the new kickers, it could be very well by half the distance, I guess. But there has to be a new force. And what I'm trying to say is if the ball winds up into K's end zone and no player possession, it could literally be a touchback, and K can get the ball on the 20-yard line and totally bypass R getting the ball. Again, I'm not going to cover how that works. It just goes on the new force. You can read Rule 8 on the new force, or you can look it up. And we're talking about new force. Again, we'll talk about that later on throughout the course. All right. Fair catch. All right, this is the last section, fair catch. All right, Rule 291, a fair catch is a catch by a receiver of a free kick in or beyond the neutral zone to the receiver's goal line, or a scrimmage kick beyond the neutral zone to the receiver's goal line. All right, so a free kick, we got a 10-yard neutral zone. If they give a fair catch within that area, they can do that within the neutral zone or beyond. On a scrimmage kick, it's only the length of the ball anyways. They can give a fair catch signal with the ball in flight beyond the neutral zone and give a fair catch signal. But if it's behind on a scrimmage kick, it's irrelevant. All right. After a valid signal, under conditions in which the receiver forfeits the right to advance the ball in return for protection for being blocked or tackled by an opponent. Again, we don't see as much in youth. This is when you have a good kicker and they got a good hang time on the ball and it's giving K an opportunity to get downfield before the ball actually travels down. If the receiver feels that, oh my gosh, they're bearing down on me, he can give a fair catch signal and get protection from being blocked or tackled and have ability to catch the ball. All right. Any receiver may signal for a fair catch while any legal kick in flight. Now I asked everyone, what are the 3 fair catch signals? All right. Again, but like, what I mean, I ain't talking to my go-to people. They're like, what are you talking about? And then I had to explain it to them. They're like, oh, okay. And I'm gonna explain it to you guys now. There's actually 3 fair catch signals are discussed as fair catch signal. We'll talk about it. All right. Any receiver may signal for a fair catch while any legal kick is in flight. All right. A valid fair catch signal is the extending and lateral waving of one arm at full arm's length above the head by any arm player. Couple of things there. We're talking about a valid fair catch signal. Has to have an extended arm, not like this, not like that, not all of this. I don't know what this is. Has to be fully extended over the head, waving above his head by any arm player, and that's a valid fair catch signal. Like this. All right. Well, we got 2 arms up. That's not a valid fair catch signal because the rule says 1 arm. And they say 1 or 2 arms. So if we got 2 arms doing this, that's not a valid fair catch signal. All right. Got to be 1 arm. And typically on a scrimmage kick, what I was taught as a back judge, I always look over to the receiver there. You know what the fair catch signal is, and I show him real fast to prevent him from doing anything other than that. Right? All right. A receiver should not give an invalid fair catch signal. So this is number 2. The second fair catch signal is an invalid fair catch signal. All right. Invalid fair catch signal is any signal by a receiver before the kick is caught or recovered. It does not meet a valid signal. So in other words, if this is a valid signal, anything other than this is not a valid signal. So if I'm doing this, that's not a valid signal. The rules want to make sure that everybody can see you giving that signal. All the kickers can see it, all officials can see it, everybody can see it, that you're giving it. This right here, and that's pretty much what the signal is for the penalty referee signal is, no, that's invalid fair catch signal. All right. All of this, invalid. Okay. All right. After the kick touches a receiver, doesn't have to touch the ground. If the ball hits my shoulder, on one of your teammates' shoulder, and it bounced in the air, and then you try, I don't care if you're giving it the legal one it doesn't make a difference. Once it touched a receiver and you trying to give a fair catch signal, it's invalid. After the kick has touched the ground, okay? It touched the ground, it's rolling up to you. All the kickers are bearing on it. You can't say, hey, I don't care if it's you're giving the legal fair catch signal, it's all invalid because it has to be in flight, not touching your teammates, not touching the ground, and it has to be the one. Those three things makes it invalid fair catch signal. All right. The runner should not give an illegal fair catch signal. So this is the third one. We have valid signal, invalid fair catch signal. Oh, guys. And then we have the runner giving an illegal fair catch signal. So the key word is the runner. All right. It is a legal fair catch signal, any signal by a runner after the kick has been caught and after the kick has been recovered. All right. That means it was on the ground, he picked it up to possess it. Recovering always means that the ball was on the ground, guys. So that's the illegal fair catch signal. So you got valid, invalid, and illegal fair catch. All right, let's look at the kicking team restrictions. While any free kick is in flight, K shall not touch the ball or R unless blocked into the ball or R or to ward off a blocker. Again, we're talking about force touching, all right? But if there's no force touching, while the ball is in flight on a free kick, all right, K cannot touch the ball. They can't catch the ball in the air. They can't do anything. They're not even, it says they're not even supposed to touch R, right? Now, if R is proceeding to block him, he can ward off the blocker. But I've been seeing this, if an R player, while the ball is in flight, is just standing there, that gives no legal right for K to initiate contact while the ball is in flight, right? Cannot touch R or the ball while the free kick is in flight. Obstructs our path to the ball, all right? Now, all of this falls under kick catching interference. Again, we'll talk about all those fouls later, but that's intentionally or unintentionally, right? While a ball is in flight, K must give R free area to catch the ball while it's in flight, right? That's with a signal or without a signal. K cannot obstruct R pathway to the ball. That's a foul, okay? Can't touch R unless R is trying to touch you, and you can't stop R from catching the ball, obviously, right? Because if the ball goes 10 yards and it touched the ground, guess what? K can recover it. So wouldn't it be nice if K can block R from getting to the ball so it can touch the ground so they can recover it, right? You see in the picture, they're like, K is pausing, giving the receiver opportunity to catch the ball because you can't obstruct his path and you can't touch the ball while it's in flight, right? This prohibition applies even when no fair catch signal is given. So again, I don't got to give a fair catch signal for you to give me space to catch the ball or obstruct my pathway to the ball. So if you're standing in front of me and the ball, I'm seeing the ball like it's going to be a short. If I walk forward to try to get the ball and I run into you, guess what? Kick catching interference. You got to move out the way and give me an opportunity to catch the ball. But it does not apply after a free kick has touched by a receiver. So it comes in and bounces off my shoulder, bounces back on my teammate, and bounces back in the air. All bets are off. I do not have to give you pathway to the ball because it's touched a receiver. Or after a scrimmage kick has touched by a receiver who is clearly beyond the neutral zone at the time of touching. All right. Remember, it's a ball in flight. Once it hits the ground, all bets are off. You can't give a fair catch signal once it hits the ground, right? Because it's invalid. So again, we're talking about a ball in flight. Exception, and this is on a scrimmage kick. K may catch, touch, muff, or bat a scrimmage kick in flight beyond the neutral zone if no player of R is in position to catch the ball. Again, if I'm trying on a scrimmage kick in position to catch the ball, and the K comes and knocks the ball, bats the ball away, that's kick catching interference. All right. Now, if there's no R player in position to catch it, they can catch it and down it, or bat it, muff it, touch it, whatever. All right, let's look at R's fair catch rules. All right, we're talking about they gave a fair catch signal. Let's look at the rules. All right, no receiver may advance the ball after a valid or invalid fair catch signal has been given by any R player. All right, which means if a player on the front line gave a valid fair catch signal, and one of my teammates in the back catch the ball, it's dead. Although he didn't give the fair catch signal, but if anyone on our team give a valid or invalid fair catch signal, and the cover official sees it, once the ball is caught or recovered, it is dead. All right? Any receiver who has given a valid or invalid fair catch signal is prohibited from blocking until the kick has ended. So if I give a valid or invalid fair catch signal, all right, I can't block K. I can't initiate contact with K until the kick has ended. All right. If I do, it's a foul for illegal blocking. Only the receiver who has given a valid fair catch signal is afforded protection. All right. So I'm protected from being blocked and tackled, but that only applies to the one who gave the signal. All right. So if I gave the signal and my teammate caught the ball, he's not actually provided the protection, but we should definitely kill the play as soon as we assure that he's not going to drop it or muff the ball, that he actually has possession of the ball. We should actually kill it as quick as possible. If he gets tackled, it's not a foul unless you rule as a personal foul or roughing or I think it's a personal foul. We can call that, but just by he called it to tackle, it's not a foul because he's not the one that actually given the signal. All right, the ball is dead after any player who gives the fair catch signal or a teammate catches the ball. All right, so the ball is automatically dead. Obviously, you can't advance it, so the ball will be dead. Right, that makes sense. That goes along with the you can't advance it. So the as soon as it's caught by a teammate or the person who gave the signal, the play is dead. All right. So here we go. The last thing here. What happens after he cuts the ball? All right. All right. So a captain may choose to free kick or snap anywhere between the hash marks after a valid fair catch signal is given and is caught or awarded. All right. On the yard line, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff I left out. You can read it for yourself. Of a catch when a fair catch is made. Okay. So if I catch it on the 20, I can say I want it on a hash mark in the middle of the field or other hash. I can choose if I want to free kick it or if I want to just do a snap. The spot of interference, a fair catch is awarded. So again, if K interferes with touch the ball while it's in flight, or touching the R player, or struck R player from getting to the ball, is a foul, and that R can be awarded their fair catch as though they did catch it. And again, at the spot of interference, they can choose they want to free kick it or if they want to snap it. Now you know that a fair catch or an awarded fair catch, if they want a free kick, they can score a field goal from a free kick, right? Which means that is it 10 yards?
1 sec.
Which means if it's 10 yards, they can put it on a tee, place tee, and they can kick it. And if it goes to the field goal, I mean, if it goes to the field R's field goal goalpost, I'm trying to say, it is awarded 3 points, right? Now, on a regular free kick, after a try, but a safety, that if it goes through R's field goal goalpost, that is, you can't score on those, right? I looked it up. It's actually said in the 1940s, you were able to score on any free kick that went through the opponent's goalpost. So if you're still thinking that you can score on any free kick, you're telling your age, all right? That was in the 40s, all right? So now only on a valid or awarded, only on a fair catch or awarded fair catch, free kick that you can score goalposts, you can score points. At the succeeding spot, you can read the rest of that on your own. A penalty for kick catch interference is accepted following an awarded fair catch. So it's a 15-yard penalty from the spot of interference. You can mark it up 15 yards, and they can say, I want to free kick it for a field goal, or I want to snap the ball. All right. All right, guys, that is it. It is 9:09. I'm doing really good.